Hey guys, how the hell are you? Welcome back once again to Arnold Drinks. My name is Arnold. Tonight I drink, but tonight is a special one because it is the end of 2022 and you know what that means. It is time for year-end best of lists. So first of all, I want to take a moment to thank you guys because this was a very awesome 2022. This was a great year. I'd like to thank you guys for helping this channel grow. Some of you guys even came here organically from watching the review videos that I posted, so I appreciate you very much. For those of you that have done so, have come here just from wanting to see reviews of some of this product that I've checked out and don't know, I do also have a main channel that I initially started this as an offshoot from called Arnold Plays Guitar. Those of you guys that also came over from that channel, thank you guys so much for helping this kind of get a jump start right from the word go. This was kind of an interesting little step to maybe pursue a secondary passion of mine, something that I've gotten really invested in and really interested in this year, and I'm just really grateful that you guys have come on board. If you have any suggestions on future content, things I can do for the channel, things I can feature for 2023, by all means, please drop them in the comment section below. I am looking to grow this channel and I'm looking to check stuff out as long as it's within my means. But yeah, thank you guys so much for kind of helping make 2022 a great inaugural year for Arnold Drinks. So one of the things that you guys are probably going to notice a lot in this review video is you're going to hear a lot of talk about bold and interesting and stuff like that. I'm not always looking for sort of tater bait when it comes to the whiskeys that I enjoy. I'm looking for stuff that just kind of gets me going, gets me thinking a little bit. I'm looking for stuff that's a little bit different from the norm. Maybe a little bit less of the Taylors of the world and the Stags of the world, and a little bit more of like, where the hell did that come from? That is totally out of left field. That is awesome. Hopefully, by me doing this list, it maybe highlights and accentuates a little bit of that. You might see some popular names creep up in this list a little bit, some stuff that a lot of other bourbon YouTubers have talked about or whiskey YouTubers have talked about, but all the same, it's stuff that when I tried them this year, I was like, oh my god, that's insane how that can taste that good. So with that, let's just dive right in. So the first bottle that I wanted to talk about, my number 10, was a gift from Mr. Eli Schott. He has helped me out so much, sent me a lot of really cool stuff to check out, and this was no exception. Eli, thank you. This is New Riff Kentucky Straight Malted Rye Whiskey, 6-year age statement on this bottle, 100 proof. This was just something that out of all the stuff that Eli sent me, which by the way was some really intense, amazing bottles, this was just kind of the one that resonated with me the best. It was something that definitely a rye kick to it, but it was a little bit muted compared to all those beautiful, sweet, fruity notes that came out of this. Like, it was interesting. Yes, it's a rye whiskey, but it had some very un-rye-like qualities about it that made it, like, kind of hit me in the face a little bit. Like, wow, this is really cool. You're getting all these sweet fruit notes. You're getting something that, yeah, the spice is there, but it's just kind of elevating everything else. It makes a hell of a great cocktail. I made some like little mini old fashions with this. It's just an exceptional bottle. And I also think bonus points should be awarded because here we have a relatively newer distillery on the scene that is making their own mash, that's making their own distillate, I should say. And it's coming out fantastic. It's not sourced. It's something that is their own product. And it's really exceptional. So definitely a great place to start off my top 10. Second bottle on this list is OKI Reserve. So this was something that my roommate Helena picked up for me when she was on one of her many trips. And thank you very much, Helena, for picking this up. This to me was one of those bottles that really shows all the different stuff that MGP, now known as Ross and Squibb, can really produce. So various different mashes went into this: low rye bourbon, high rye bourbon, 95.5 rye whiskey, rye corn whiskey, still don't know what the hell that means, light whiskey, which I can take to mean like obtainium, which is very cool. And this is their batch 1 reserve. It also has all the different age statements, all the different percentages on here. So wow, what a transparent bottle. Everything about this was very tasty. You of course have those typical MGP notes. You've got the big caramel, the big vanilla. You've got the really big out of nowhere orange citrus zest that's coming through. But then you've got kind of everything else blending together. A really nice kind of minty rye that's in there. A little bit of spice on the back end. This was just kind of a nice little flavor melange that definitely, in my opinion, tasted a little bit better than its price point. So for that reason, it's got to be number 9 on my list. Thank you, Helena, for picking it up for me. Next on my list, from Fable, which is a brand that sources various single barrels from many Scottish distilleries. This is Hound Chapter 5. This particular one is aged 13 years, and it is sourced from Monachmore Distillery. It has a lot of information on the front here, so what type of cask was used, when it was bottled, when it was distilled. It does mention that it is a Speyside, which always bodes well for me. I tend to gravitate towards Speysides a little bit more. This was just something that sort of further reinforced my opinion that cask strength Scotch is one of those things that people sleep on a little bit. You need to branch out, you need to check out Scotches that are at barrel proof, at cask strength, because oh my god, all those flavor notes that you typically find in Scotch are super duper elevated. And this was no exception. Easy drinking for its proofage, which I thought was really surprising. I can't help but love this bottle, and it reminds me of a fantastic time in this year for me when my wife and I were on vacation. So it already has a little bit of a nostalgia factor to it. I only wish I would have picked up another one of the chapters from this line, because this is super limited. This is one of less than 300 bottles that exist for this, and oh, is it tasty. Number 7 on this list, another one of those ones that is sourced, that kind of shows all the magic that can be had. This is Foregate Whiskey Company. This is the Kelvin Collaboration number 4. 55.85% alcohol by volume, so 111.7 proof. It does say right in here, distilled in Kentucky and Indiana, so you've got a little bit coming from all over the place here. A blend of straight bourbon and straight rye whiskeys, finished in Australian tawny port and Barbadian dark rum casks. So you've got a lot going on with this. A huge melange and blending and coming together of flavors. And what I thought was really funny, this is actually the most expensive bottle that I own on my shelf as far as retail price goes. And I was like, okay, am I gonna get burned on this? And one of the things that really impressed me about this is how balanced it is. There is so much of everything in here. You've got the peppery, cinnamony finish. You've got all those great rye notes in there, like the mintiness. You've got those awesome bourbon notes in there, the little bit of citrus zest. You've got the caramel. You've got that toffee. You've got the vanilla that's sort of creeping up in there. You've got an oaky character that's in there too. This has literally everything going on for it, but what impressed me is it's got so much of everything. You know how a lot of times you get a whiskey and it's balanced, but everything is kind of subtle and everything's fighting for dominance? Here, everything is elevated. That kind of blew my mind a little bit. Like, wow, nothing is overpowering anything else. There's just everything in abundance. And I was like, that's going to be tough to top. But alas, it is only number 7 on this list, which means I did find some other interesting whiskeys this year as well. Coming up next, my introduction to Booker's. That's right, I had actually never had Booker's before until I bought this bottle. And wow, what a bottle it is. This is their Lumberyard batch that came out this year, 2022-02, 62.4 124%. This is 124.8 proof, bears an age statement of 7 years, 1 month, and 7 days. You've got some incredible blending happening here, which creates something that is really, really tasty. Obviously, it does have that sort of peanut oil kind of flavor to it that a lot of bean products tend to have. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting here, Lumberyard Edition is an apt name because it's very, very woody. And not woody like oak barreling, but like I was getting a lot of cedar out of this. I'm like, wow, really? That is kind of cool. Getting something that is really woody, but not in an overpowering, oppressive sort of way, but kind of in an interesting, like, this tastes downright sophisticated kind of way. I was like, damn, that is an exceptional, exceptional bottle. Very happy to have it on my shelf, and very, very happy to call this my introduction to Booker's. Everything else that I ever get from Booker's is going to have a lot to live up to. Number 5 on my list was a store pick that I picked up. This is a Stranahan's single barrel, single malt, cask strength whiskey. Now, this thing was awesome because it came out of nowhere. I ended up getting a bottle from my buddy Eli, and he mentioned to me, he's like, wow, this is great. How does it not taste like any other single malt that I've had? And that's honestly one of the things I love about it. It's interesting, it's unique, it's different. So this is something that is their own distillate. It's coming from Denver, Colorado. It says right on here, it's got the age statement, 6 years, 7 months. Proofage is 120.76. This thing, wow. All right, probably the biggest thing I can mention about it is, you know how a lot of guys talk about various bourbons having big, bold vanilla notes? That's one of those things that I disagree on vehemently. I don't really think of vanilla as being a major player whenever I'm having any sort of whiskey. Any bourbon, like, yeah, okay, there's maybe a little bit in there, but it's buried beneath everything else. And I'm always like, why are all these guys talking about massive vanilla notes? This is all of the vanilla. Oh my God, this thing is a vanilla bomb. But being that it is an American single malt, you're still getting plenty of those kind of doughy, cocoa powdery kind of notes in there that are mingling very, very nicely with that vanilla, only further elevated by that cask strength proofage on there. So if you like sort of like a pastry note coming from a bourbon, that vanilla frosting just drizzled all over it, this is a huge, huge winner. If you ever have a chance to pick up a cask strength of their single malt from Stranahan's, do yourself a favor. Coming in at number 4 is the reason why this is the second time I have had to shoot this video. Yes, that's right, there was a previous iteration that I had to remove something from because I was just so anxious as to crack this open and check this out that I was like, oh, I need to totally redo my top 10 list. Something, a late edition, and it's already at number 4. Are you kidding me? No, I am not. This is an incredible bottle. This is twice barreled. This is the special release from Jack Daniel's. It is an American single malt bearing the Jack Daniel's name. Yes, you heard that correctly. 106.3 proof is what my bottle's at. Aged first in new American charred oak casks, but then further finished in Oloroso sherry casks. This thing is a berry and fried dough and chocolate bomb. It's got all of that coming together. So there again, huge, interesting, bold pastry notes coming through from this bottle. It had to make an appearance on this list. I mean, I had a buddy of mine over not too long ago that he has tried a lot of my whiskeys. He's tried a lot of whiskeys from some other friends of his. He does have a really exceptional palate. He would be the last person to ever admit that, but he really does. And he called this the single best whiskey he's ever had. Me personally, I wouldn't go that far because I've had so much good stuff this year, but this is really, really high up there. This is one of those bottles that if you have a chance to get it at close to retail, maybe a little bit above, do yourself a favor. Don't go absolutely crazy on the secondary market, but damn, was this such an awesome bottle. further cementing my belief that anything that Jack Daniel's does that is not Old Number 7 is worth checking out. What could be better than that, you ask? Well, I've got to pull out one of the limited releases from Maker's Mark this year. A lot of folks tried both, tried the BRT-01 and the BRT-02, and a lot of people will disagree with me. A lot of people gravitated towards BRT-02 because it had those big fruit notes in there. Me, I was impressed by this bottle because this is that sweet dessert bourbon that I have been searching for pretty much ever since I started on this bourbon journey. I've been looking for something that just is a huge sugary confection, and that's exactly what you got here. This is liquid creme brulee. Big, bold, intense sugar, caramel toffee, vanilla, all coming together. Oh my God, it is so sweet and almost in an oppressive diabetic kind of way, but so good. I finally found it. This is kind of my ultimate dessert bourbon. If these things are still out there and you still happen to find one, do yourself a favor, get both, because both BRT-01 and BRT-02 were both awesome bottles. But me personally, my opinion differs from the norm. I thought this thing was so good, it's gotta be my number 3, standing apart from 02. All right, you wanna talk big, bold, interesting. You wanna talk about something that maybe changes your opinion on what a particular whiskey can do. This is GlenAllachie 10-year cast strength batch 6 coming in at number 2 on my year-end list. The reason why is because I picked this thing up, drank it, and was like, wow, that totally is giving me 0 typical Scotch notes, and I love it for it. I love Scotch. I love your typical Scotch flavors. I love the vanilla. I love the stone fruit. I love the earthiness to an extent. I don't like it when it's brutal, in your face, stupid fuck you up, Pete, but I'm getting there. But this thing, and I swear, this is the note that I get out of this, even to this day, after having drank so much of this bottle already. I still get artisanal chocolates. Like when someone hands you a heart-shaped box on Valentine's Day that has those raspberry cream-filled dark chocolate and milk chocolates in there that you know were just crafted with such care and precision by an artisanal chocolatier. That is what I get out of this. What the actual F? Dude, GlenAllachie, I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you do it. It doesn't say on here if there was any sort of like finishing that was done, and I looked it up online and I couldn't find anything either. But man, there's gotta be something interesting that's happening. Look at the color in that whiskey too. It's super dark and rich, but just big, bold. You want to talk big and bold and stupid, mess you up kind of flavors, like blow your mind kind of flavors. GlenAllachie, you knocked it out of the damn park with this one. But it is still number 2. What could possibly be my number 1? This one is my number 1 whiskey of the year. Shout out to my wife for picking this up on one of her travels. She was out and about in Tennessee, swung through Chattanooga, swung by the distillery, and by sheer luck, I think this may be the first bottle of this that was ever sold. Check out the video that I posted on this for the full story on that. But this is Chattanooga Experimental Barrel number 175. This is 122.8 proof, so you're getting that proofage that's in there. Elevating, super elevating all those flavor notes that are in there. And what flavor notes are we talking about with this weird experimental mash that's in here that is malt upon malt upon malt? Yes, it's a bourbon, so there's still a healthy amount of corn in there. But you've got several different types of malted barley in there. You've got that malted rye that's in there. All of this is coming together to create a fresh apple pastry in a bottle. That's exactly what you get. You get plenty of that apple note. You get a bit of that cinnamon that's in there. You get that sort of confectionery sugar in there, powdered sugar, a little bit of vanilla frosting in there, and tons and tons and tons of fried dough, a little bit of chocolate that's in there too. A massive flavor bomb of a bottle. I drink it slow. I don't drink a lot out of this because I don't think that this is still available anymore. I would love to be proven wrong. If anyone goes through Chattanooga and stops by the distillery and still sees this, please, please, please pick me up a bottle too. Let's talk about getting me one, because this is just such an exceptional whiskey. It had to be my number one, and I'm enamored. I'm in love with this bottle for how interesting and how different it is, while still being thoroughly awesome, balanced. It's just, wow. I am wowed by this bottle. So there you have it, guys. There's my top 10 list of 2022. Thank you guys so much for making 2022 an absolutely fantastic start to this channel. I very much appreciate your guys' support, your patronage, tuning in. Those of you guys that have come here there again organically for checking out just a whiskey review or a beer review, and you're like, hey, this seems interesting. Very much appreciate you guys. Spread the word, share these videos. Those of you guys that came over from my main channel, Arnold Plays Guitar, there again, thank you guys so much for giving me a solid footing with which to stand on. Let's continue to grow this channel. Any comments, any suggestions that you guys have on what we can do differently in 2023, drop them in the comment section below. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns about any of these bottles. If you've had any of these, drop your comments below and let me know what you guys thought as well. Let's make 2023 an awesome, awesome year with this channel. Thank you guys so much. As always, remember, take what you do seriously, but do not take yourselves too seriously.